The day German generals learned Patton would not slow down. Europe, 1944. A continent scarred by fire, steel, and exhaustion. World War II had entered its most brutal phase, and Nazi Germany, once unstoppable, was now fighting to survive. The Allies had landed in Normandy. France was beginning to break free, and German commanders believed they still understood how this war would be fought. They were wrong, because one American general was about to shatter every assumption they had about speed, aggression, and modern warfare. His name was General George S. Patton, after Normandy. Following the D-Day landings, German generals expected a pause. They believed the Allies would consolidate forces, rebuild supply lines, and move cautiously across France, just as armies had done in World War I. Maps were studied, defensive lines were drawn. Time, they believed, was still on Germany's side. Then, Patton's Third Army was unleashed. What followed was not a slow advance, it was a flood. Patton's philosophy of war. Patton believed in one principle above all others: relentless momentum. He famously said, "A good plan violently executed now is better than a perfect plan executed next week." To Patton, delay was deadly. Every hour the enemy was allowed to regroup was a mistake. While German commanders planned defenses, Patton planned movement: fast, aggressive, unforgiving. German miscalculation. German intelligence initially dismissed Patton's advance. They believed American armies were dependent on rigid supply systems and would be forced to halt without fuel and ammunition. Reports reached German headquarters. Patton has advanced 50 miles. Patton has bypassed defensive positions. Patton is attacking from unexpected directions. German generals laughed at first. They assumed it was unsustainable. They assumed he would stop. He didn't. The speed shock. Within weeks, Patton's Third Army crossed France faster than any modern army had ever done before. German defensive positions collapsed, not because they were weak, but because they were never fully formed. Entire German units found themselves outflanked before firing a single shot. A German officer later wrote, "We were preparing to fight tomorrow. Patton arrived today." For the first time, German commanders realized something was wrong, very wrong. Attacking time itself. In August 1944, German High Command held emergency meetings. One staff officer summarized the crisis in a single sentence: "He is not attacking our armies, he is attacking our time." Patton was denying Germany its most valuable resource, the ability to reorganize. Every retreat became a rout. Every regrouping attempt became a trap. Patton didn't destroy German plans, he made them irrelevant. Soldiers under relentless pressure. Patton's own soldiers paid a heavy price for this speed. They marched day and night. They slept in vehicles, ditches, and sometimes not at all. But Patton demanded more. He told them, "Fatigue makes cowards of us all. Keep moving." Despite exhaustion, morale remained high. Why? Because Patton's men knew they were winning. Psychological warfare. Patton understood fear. He cultivated it. German soldiers began to fear Patton more than American tanks. Captured German prisoners repeatedly said the same thing: "When we heard Patton was coming, we retreated." His reputation became a weapon. Often his name arrived before his army. Fuel crisis that never stopped him. By September 1944, Patton's supply lines were stretched to the breaking point. Fuel shortages threatened to halt the advance. German commanders celebrated. This is it, they believed. Now he must stop. Instead, Patton ordered fuel diverted from rear units to the front. Administrative chaos followed, but the advance continued.
Patton famously said, "My men can eat their belts, but my tanks must have gasoline." Once again, German expectations collapsed. Terrain and weather fail. Germany's geography was supposed to slow the Allies. Rivers, forests, narrow roads. Rain turned fields into mud. Bridges were destroyed. But Patton adapted instantly. Engineers built temporary bridges overnight. Tanks pushed through terrain considered impassable. German generals realized terrain no longer guaranteed safety. Diaries of defeat. After the war, German officers' diaries revealed the psychological toll. One wrote, "We defended for weeks. He broke through in hours." Another noted, "Patton does not follow patterns. He creates chaos." These were not just battlefield losses. They were mental defeats. The Ardennes Gamble. In late 1944, Germany launched one final desperate offensive, the Battle of the Bulge. They hoped to split Allied forces and force negotiations. When Patton learned of the attack, he did something German commanders believed impossible. He turned his entire army, over 250,000 men, 90 degrees within less than 48 hours. Even Allied leaders were stunned. German generals were horrified. Winter war at full speed. Snow, ice, sub-zero temperatures. German commanders believed winter would finally stop Patton. It didn't. His columns advanced through frozen roads and shattered towns. A German officer remarked, "No army should be able to move this fast in winter." Patton proved otherwise. Acceptance of the truth. By early 1945, German leadership understood the reality. Patton could not be outplanned. He could not be delayed. He could only be exhausted or killed. One senior German general later admitted, "We never learned how to fight a man who refused to stop." George S. Patton was not a perfect general. He was aggressive, controversial, often offensive even to his own allies. But his soldiers understood him. They knew that behind the harsh words was a commander who believed one thing absolutely: winning saved lives. What Patton changed forever. Before Patton, speed was considered risky. After Patton, speed became doctrine. Military academies around the world studied his campaigns, not because they were neat or elegant, but because they worked. Patton proved that momentum could replace preparation, shock could replace attrition, and fear could replace firepower. He forced modern armies to rethink how wars could be won, not slowly, not carefully, but relentlessly. The man behind the legend. Patton was deeply flawed. He was controversial, outspoken, often offensive even to his own allies. But his soldiers understood him. They knew that behind the harsh words was a commander who believed one thing absolutely: winning saved lives.
Every day the war continued meant more dead soldiers. Patton believed speed was mercy. German reflection. One former German general summarized Patton's impact years later. "Against other commanders, we could recover. Against Patton, we could not breathe." This was the ultimate lesson. Patton didn't just defeat German armies, he denied them time, rest, and hope. And once those were gone, defeat was inevitable. History remembers battles, it remembers dates, it remembers victories and defeats. But sometimes history is shaped by a single refusal, a refusal to wait, a refusal to slow down, a refusal to fight by old rules. The day German generals learned Patton would not slow down was the day speed became a weapon and the outcome of the war was sealed.